Now, Sari Brown has returned to us to tell us about habitual whirlpools.
Yay. So good to be back here. It always feels like coming to another of my most beloved spiritual homes to be here. Oh, and I want to tell a little story that I feel is relevant in some ways to introduce this message, because I had printer issues this morning. I was, rushing and sending an email to Dell to see if she could print for me here at the center, because I don't want to, I would have to have my computer up here, and that's just not the right vibe I'm going for. And she printed it out for me, and it was like 4 minutes to go till the start of the service. I looked down at it, and it's like this. I had based this message on an old message I'd given before, but I completely reworked it. And it was the old version that I had emailed her that I had preached to like a United Methodist Christian congregation. And I was like, I would like to think that if I just stand up and preach this message, like I have the integrity and consistency that like it would just work. But you know what? No, I really think it's gonna be better what I crafted for all of you. So that is to say, while I love my Christian tradition that I am rooted in, I'm a United Methodist minister, I come most alive when I am in contexts like this one, where diverse traditions and lineages and perspectives converge. I love that in communities like yours, there is really no controversy that I've ever heard of about the idea that we are all essentially one with each other and with God or spirit or the sacred, or however we understand that. It is a given here that many paths across the world are all valid, and we agree on the call to honor diverse expressions of divine truth with love and respect. And there's a dark side to everything. When we assume that we are all one, united in love, beings of light, and need only to realize this truth to raise our vibration, it can be hard to accept that we are not always loving and unified and harmonious with each other. It can be hard to face that. So, there's a strange little collection of stories from my tradition that I want to share with you today. And I think it has some precious nuggets of wisdom for all of us about living out this ideal of unity. These are excerpts from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9, verses 31 to 50. Jesus said to his disciples as they were traveling, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and after 3 days he will rise." But they did not understand what he meant, and they were afraid to ask him about it. When they got where they were going, Jesus asked, "What were you arguing about on the road?" But they kept quiet because on the way they had argued about who was the greatest. Sitting down, Jesus called the 12 and said, "Anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and the servant of all." He took a little child whom he placed among them. Taking the child in his arms, he said, "Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me." "Teacher," said John, "we saw someone driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop. He was not one of us." "Do not stop him," Jesus said, "for no one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me, for whoever is not against us is for us. Truly, I tell you, anyone who gives you a cup of water in my name because you belong to the Messiah will certainly not lose their reward. If anyone causes one of these little ones to stumble. It would be better for them if a large millstone were hung around their neck and they were thrown into the sea. If your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than with 2 hands to go into hell, where the fire never goes out. And if your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life crippled than to have 2 feet and be thrown into hell. And if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into hell. Everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Have salt among yourselves and be at peace with each other. Here ends the reading, along with all the love and light and raised vibrations. So last Sunday, it was World Communion Sunday, which you might not know because, I'm a liturgical geek and I'm involved in the Christian church, but, it's this day that encourages Christians to embrace the unity in the diverse body of Christ as we all gather at the same great symbolic communion table. And in some ways, you all here celebrate communion with the world all the time. That's kind of what you're all about. But I do think that a special day like this one can keep us honest that a true practice of unity is special. It's really a practice. We have to keep returning to it and relearning it. World communion, world peace, world realization of our one divine essence. All these are variations on our longing for unity. Us humans do not always do it very well, whether we're Christians, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, indigenous religion, New Age, New Thought, whatever it may be. And this time in our divided and disrupted world is ripe for facing the darker side of unity. It's time to question how the ideal of unity can serve the ones with power or influence while erasing differences or ignoring injustices. It's a time to be honest with our habitual ways of relating that block authentic unity. It's a time to unlearn our desires to be greater or wiser or comfortable at another's expense, or to make people conform to our vision of unity. So I'm going to give you a little story, just kind of as one of those examples of like what not to do that can be helpful to show that I'm also not, I'm also practicing, I'm also on this path. In my early 20s, I lived in La Paz, Bolivia. I think I've talked about this here before. I was a missionary with the Methodist Church, and I was also doing anthropological, like ethnographic research. So I was studying gender equality and ethnicity and leadership in the Bolivian Methodist Evangelical Church. And when I went, I was very aware of the history of Christian missionaries that have, up till the present day, sent missionaries from wealthy, powerful nations to supposedly less developed cultures with this conscious or subconscious agenda of imposing their culture that they see as superior. And of course, I was determined to be one of the exceptions and to not do any of that. And I did work very hard to understand and respect and immerse myself in Bolivian culture, from the food and the music to the worldview and the spiritual practice. I even started dressing like a cholita paseña, the way that Aymara women from La Paz dress, which is this amazingly elaborate indigenous fashion. And yet, all my best efforts to be humble and respectful collided with my habitual desires to be comfortable and important and right. One spectacular fail happened at a weekly Sunday night worship service at the dorm where I lived. It was for Methodist college students coming from rural areas to study in the city. And we would have these weekly worship services. We would take turns picking out hymns from this little Bolivian Methodist hymnal, and we would sing them usually to just the beat of a drum. Sometimes we had other instruments, but we always had the drum. And the student at the drum that night never had a problem, in my memory, keeping a steady beat with the Bolivian hymns, with their complex rhythms, a lot more complex than a lot of our hymns' rhythms. But that night, someone requested a translation of a song that was familiar to me from an English language hymn. And it was in 3/4 time, very simple. You know, it's a waltz, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the young man didn't know what the beat was supposed to be, and his playing didn't match the song as we, struggled to sing in unison. And when the song was over, so embarrassing to say this, but what I smugly announced was, next time we sing a song from my culture, I can play the drum. Oh, of course, the drummer looked down, ashamed, put down the mallet, refused to keep playing that night. I instantly realized what a dumb, awful thing to say that was. I went and apologized to him later, but that the damage is already done in that moment. I had come to flip the script on Euro-American superiority, and here I was, just blatantly reinforcing it. The Sufi poet Rumi writes, "When water gets caught in habitual whirlpools, dig a way out through the bottom of the ocean." When we fall into habits like these, whether it's American imperialism or educational elitism or racial bias, the only way through is to go down deep, to get really honest with our limited capacity for loving unity, and trust that there is a way out at the bottom. In the stories I read today, Jesus' disciples also fall into habitual whirlpools. While Jesus speaks of the humble, painful path of self-giving love that he must take, his disciples are walking along, ignoring what he's saying, and arguing amongst themselves about who is the greatest. And when Jesus later asks them what they were arguing about, they're embarrassed to admit it, despite knowing the path of humble service, inclusion, and love that Christ calls them to walk. They were caught in habitual patterns of self-importance. And most of us also prefer reassuring ourselves that we are enlightened and egalitarian and humble and unconditionally loving. We're one of the good ones, over actually facing the ways that we are called to change and grow. Jesus loves his disciples enough to make them uncomfortable. He tells them, because he knew what they were talking about, he tells them that whoever wants to be first must be last. But he doesn't stop there. That's not quite enough just to say it. He gets an actual child to stand before them. I imagine maybe a child even, we have 2 kids here, and I'm so glad you guys are here, but I'm imagining a kid even younger than you two. Like, a little toddler, maybe with some snot in her nose and crumbs stuck to her cheek, and just kind of, okay, staring at them all without pretense. And Jesus tells them, basically, this is my representative. Not any of you guys trying so hard to be great. This kid, curious, open, needy, vulnerable, free, this is the measure of my greatness. If you welcome her, you welcome me. And if you welcome me, you welcome the one who sent me. Then, to demonstrate with flair how easy it is to fall back into those habitual whirlpools, John says, "Teacher, we saw someone throwing out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he wasn't one of us." Sure, all the disciples who are on this path of love and light are equals. They're trying to understand that, they're equals. But the people who are not practicing this holy life, another phone thing, Make sure it's turned off now. The people who are not practicing this holy life, who are just trying to like get attention or money or, who knows what their motives are, they must be less than us, right? And Jesus does not give him this pleasure because he says if this person is working God's healing, then they're on our side. Didn't matter if they aren't following our way. Spirit's on their side too. So think about the people who seem to be doing it all wrong by your criteria. Oh, you've got some. Maybe it's mega church pastors raking in the cash, or it's the hell and damnation Bible thumpers. Maybe it's conservative Muslims. Maybe it's Orthodox Jews. Maybe it's radical, rage-filled leftists with their hand on the trigger button for the next person they're going to cancel. Or how about those who confess no spiritual beliefs, but worship at the altars of capitalism, consumerism, mindless entertainment, rugged individualism, warmongering, and objectification of the earth and other living creatures? Maybe you're thinking of like a group of people, category of people. There might even be people right now in your life that you're very close to, but that you're having a really hard time with. Imagine if we were to be open to recognize the goodness that they are doing. What if we saw the divine essence in them, regardless of anything else that we may rightly disagree about or oppose in their lives? All of this talk of sharing God's love, but it's after this that Jesus gets really dark. He goes into this whole rant about cutting off your hand or plucking out your eye if they make you sin. And what do we make of that? I don't think that a man who ran around healing people is advocating for literal self-mutilation. He prefaces the whole thing as a warning for whoever causes one of these little ones to stumble. He is still thinking about children, our spiritual role models. If we make any vulnerable person stumble, an actual child, other innocent humans, or humans who know not what they do, other living beings with their own personhood, then we stoke the fires of hell on earth. If we disregard anyone who is earnestly doing good, even if it's not following our way, then we are walking ourselves into hell, where our ego's attachments and identities, our need to be right or to have our way, is more important than actually doing right and loving each other. So we keep seeking a different way, even if it means letting parts of ourselves die, identities, status, being right, being good, being comfortable, having control over how things unfold. All of that fuel for our ego that we cling to like limbs of our own body, failing to realize that we do not need them to walk into a life of oneness with divine love. Maybe we all do have to be salted with fire so it can burn away what doesn't serve us. The only way out of the habitual whirlpools is to have an equally habitual practice of pausing and interrupting ourselves. We can stop the self-important hands that swing at others with impatience and indignation that they are not getting with our agenda. We can still the fearful feet who walk away from uncomfortable relationship building. We can rest the judgmental eyes that see difference as deficiency or simply do not see other humans, trees, plants, animals, watersheds as sacred beings in their own right. And the practice can be as simple as returning to our breath. The life force that Spirit breathed into the nostrils of the first earth creatures and to each one of us. We can feel with each breath our dependence, the root of our being in the one who gave us birth. May each breath remind us what it means to be a child of divine love. We are vulnerable, needy, curious, and free. And we are equally good and beautiful and blind and embarrassing as all these other children. We probably have crumbs stuck to our cheek and snot dripping from our nose when we most want to look impressive. We are at our best when we look at others with delightful wonder and gratefully receive, like little children, whatever cups of water or juice or cracker crumbs or demon casting they may offer. The water they give comes from the one fountain of all life. And it might even show us another way out of our habitual whirlpools. I do want to do a little meditative exercise with you. I'm going to try to keep it short. But I just want to invite you for a moment to close your eyes and feel your breath, feel your body in your chair. And I also want to make sure I give thanks to Justin Michael Williams as a meditation teacher that taught me this meditation. You can find his stuff online. And as you feel what's present for you in your body, how your breath is moving, how you are rooted in this place, in your seat. I want to invite you to bring to mind someone from a different group or identity that you struggle to understand. Maybe this is someone you actually know, or maybe you just imagine a person that represents this group to you. Imagine that this person comes and sits in a chair across from you. Imagine how they look, what posture their body is in, their clothing, the look in their eyes as they look at you. And feel what sensations arise in your body as you look at them. See if you can welcome the sensations, whatever feelings may arise, even if they're not the ones you might think you're supposed to have. And if you are able, if you feel that you can resonate with this, I invite you to speak this mantra to them in your mind. I am you. You are me. We are we. I commit to thee. We'll do that again. I am you. You are me. We are we. I commit to thee. And one last time, I'll invite you, if it feels right for you, to say it out loud as you repeat me. I am you. You are me. We are we. I commit to thee. And with another deep breath, I invite you to feel whatever sensations are arising now as you continue to regard this person before you in your mind's eye. And to feel into whatever your heart may be telling you that you will commit to, whether it's something really clear or not quite formed yet. What are you committing to? And with one more deep breath of gratitude for our difficult, messy, beautiful oneness. I invite you to open your eyes and come back to this place.